Are you prepping? If not, you've got plenty of company. According to a recent FEMA survey, only about 40% of Americans have taken any steps toward disaster prep. And even among those who said yes, most admit they don't feel very ready. At the same time, about a third of Americans do believe they're at serious risk of a major disaster. They worry about hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, winter storms, and they're not wrong. Last year alone, over 40% of Americans lived in an area with a federally declared disaster. Look, I get it. These days, a lot of people are just trying to afford groceries for the week, prepping for something that might happen someday. That's a big ask. And if you're renting, forget it. You're probably not going to install solar panels or bury a propane tank in a backyard that isn't yours. Even if you wanted to, your lease probably says no. Still, as someone who's lived through multiple week-long outages from hurricanes, windstorms, and the big freeze, I'm really glad I prepped. It took budgeting, prioritizing, and learning from experience. Not everything I bought was worth it, but some things made a huge difference. So that's why I'm sharing this checklist. If you're prepping on a tight budget or in a rental, this guide's for you. I'll show you what worked for me, what I upgraded later, and what's still on my wish list. Before we get started, I hate to nag, but if this helps you at all, please tap that like button, subscribe, and drop a helpful comment. Your support helps this community grow, and yeah, it motivates me to keep going too. All right, let's do this. Category 1, food and water. In my early prepping days, my food stash was canned chili and peanut butter, my water supply, some old plastic jugs from the grocery store. It wasn't much, but that first time we didn't lose water. And one neighbor had a grill, a lot of hot dogs, and invited folks to share food. I donated a few cans of chili as my price of respectable admission to the feast. It was nice to take a break from our calamity to share with neighbors. It was sort of sad too. Some neighbors had nothing to share. Embarrassed, they just sent their kids to the feast, and the parents stayed home and probably hungry. We sent a few cans home with the kids. At that moment, I decided I was never going to be unprepared. I didn't want to go hungry, and frankly, I'll admit that I didn't want to feel embarrassed. Turns out, community counts. Basic starter kit, 1 gallon of water per person per day. You can buy containers or just reuse clean milk jugs. If you lose water pressure, that gallon covers drinking, cooking, and very minimal hygiene. By the way, it takes a lot of water to flush a toilet. I've learned to fill up large plastic tubs or containers ahead of time. You can even buy a bathtub liner made just for this. Shelf-stable food that doesn't need cooking. Canned chili, beans, tuna, chicken, veggies, peanut butter, crackers, granola bars, jerky. Don't forget a manual can opener. The electric one's useless in a blackout. Grab packets of condiments, save them from fast food runs. You can buy boxes of those too. If you plan to cook, only do it outside and safely. A charcoal or propane grill works, but I stick to ready to eat food unless it's calm and clear outside. If you decide to use an indoor rated butane propane or camping stove, make sure you ventilate well, have a working CO detector, and follow the manufacturer's instructions. I don't want to preach. Sadly, fires from DIY cooking and heating after a disaster have caused damage and cost lives. Preserving food. Get the best cooler you can afford. Stuff it with ice before the outage if you have a warning, just to manage your expectations. I've never had one of those 5-day no-thaw coolers live up to the hype. My best cooler holds ice for 2 days, maybe three if I'm lucky. I cook anything perishable by day 2 or 3. Usually by day 4, stores start restocking ice. So I just buy what I need, one day at a time. If you can't get to the store or they haven't reopened after a few days, you'll be happy you stocked up on cans of chili. How I upgraded. I bought a small power station. It can run a portable cooler, but not for long. And my solar panel takes forever to recharge. Yes, I bought a second solar power station so I can switch them out. Even with two solar power stations, I have to carefully manage my power budget. What I'd love, a quiet solar generator setup, a dream for renters like me, but that's a future plan. Category 2 light. Let me tell you, a blackout with kids is not charming. It's a game of shadows and not the fun kind. Starter kit. LED flashlights for every person, a couple of larger lanterns for common areas, batteries, lots of batteries. If you're just starting out, try to buy lights that all use the same size batteries. I didn't. Regret it. Rechargeables are great, but they still need power. Solar power banks work, but slowly. I always buy fresh batteries before storm season, just in case. Bonus tip, cheap solar garden lights can charge outside during the day and make great indoor night lights. Stick on battery lights are also great for closets and bathrooms. Yes, candles work, but they're a fire hazard. Be smart, supervise. How I upgraded. I bought a solar power bank for phones and a rechargeable lantern that lights up a whole room. That lantern, total game changer. What I'd love, a whole home generator, but for now, I'd settle for a better solar setup. Quiet, sustainable, and not dependent on the grid. Category 3, power. So here's the deal with power. Batteries are still your best fallback. Rechargeables are great, but limited, expensive, and you can't charge them if the sun doesn't cooperate. You learn quickly how much energy even small devices use. During a week-long outage, I was rationing power like a wartime general. Starter kit. Power banks for phones, rechargeable and battery powered lights, car charger, topped off gas tank for quick runs, fuel efficient mindset. You'll need it. How I upgraded: two power stations, one small solar panel. That setup lets me rotate between charging and using power, but it's not infinite. What I'd love: a bigger power station, a second panel, and maybe one day a fridge that runs on hope and moonlight. Category 4, climate control. Most of the time we were sweating, but once everything froze. No heat, no running water, just cold misery. Starter kit for heat. Layered clothes, coats, and blankets. Seal drafts in advance. Group sleeping arrangements to share body heat. Sterno cans or indoor rated heaters, only if you know how to use them safely. Battery powered hand warmers, starter kit for heat relief. Battery powered fans, misting fans, open windows for a cross breeze, draw curtains to block the sun, hydration, always hydration. It's all about keeping cool or warm long enough to stay functional and safe. Category 5, communication. Imagine losing power and cell service. No texts, no Wi Fi, just static and panic. It happened to us every time the outage passed 24 hours. Starter kit: emergency radio with AM, FM, and NOAA weather bands, a backup flashlight on the same device, the kind that runs on solar, batteries, hand crank, or wall power. Also, keep paper copies of insurance, ID, medical info, take photos, and store them locally on your phone. How I upgraded multiple radios, one in every bedroom, basic power bank options for small devices. What I'd love? Walkie talkies. Community is important, and it's helpful to have some neighbors who also have walkie talkies to exchange information with. A satellite communicator. They now make devices that can access satellite phone service from a traditional mobile phone. They allow you to prepay for credits, and some even allow you to pay right before you need them. Maybe even a cheap HAM radio. I'm still debating the license. Even if I never need it, I think it would give me a fun hobby. Category 7: Sanitation, Health, and Comfort. Nobody wants to talk about this, but you'll really want to have it figured out. Starter kit, baby wipes, hand sanitizer, trash bags, toilet paper, duct tape, because duct tape fixes everything. In a long outage, flushing toilets may not be possible if sewers get back up from the disaster. I've used stored water in tubs or buckets, whatever works. At one point, I hauled buckets from a neighbor's pool during a freeze. Also, make sure to stock up with basic first aid supplies. If anybody in the household needs critical medication refilled in the next few days, ask the doctor's office or pharmacy about emergency refills. What I'd love: a proper camping loo, or at least a better DIY system. I've been lucky so far, but sometimes sewers back up after floods. Open to ideas. Drop them in the comments. Bonus tip: cash credit cards don't work without power. Neither do ATMs. Keep some emergency cash on hand for fuel, food, or a motel if you need to get out. The first time I had to borrow my kids' allowance, they were very gracious. Still, don't be like me. Final thoughts: you don't need to panic, and you don't need to spend thousands. Just start with what you have. Check your camping gear, take inventory, then build slowly. Upgrade as you go, and please share your tips in the comments. I learn from this community too. Like, subscribe, and if you're feeling kind, support the channel with your feedback. See ya on the other side.